What is up, everybody? My name is M. and welcome to another matchup of the new Super Luigi tournament. And this time we have super64guy versus Friskie16. These guys have won their set against their opponents, which means that one of these guys are about to get their very first loss of the tournament. However, super64guy sweeped his set, whereas Friskie16 lost one of his races during his set. So 64 guy has more of a flex going into this matchup than Friskie has, but we'll see what happens. Anything can happen, as we are about to take on. Well, we're gonna be seeing what happens here in this best of 3 against these guys here in round 2. So we're waiting for the. Okay, it looks like the race has started for. According to the race time page, waiting for the stream to, waiting for them to go on their stream. Now, as you can see, we have 2 different versions here. It looks like Friskie is starting on the first level. Okay, so we're probably gonna have to notify Friskie about that, as he's gotten a bit of a half a second head start over 64 guy for starting directly on the first level instead of on the starting space. But anyway, that doesn't matter over the course of the race. As you can see, you're seeing 2 different versions here. You are seeing 64 guy playing on the deluxe version on the Nintendo Switch, whereas Friskie is playing on the original Wii U version. So, which means that Friskie has an advantage here. That does mean that Friskie has to win by at least 33 seconds or more in order to claim victory over Super 64 guy. Now, for anyone wondering what the difference between both versions are, gameplay-wise, they are very identical. However, the Switch version loads significantly slower, and over the course of the entire 80% run, the load times are about over a minute slower. But there are things that Deluxe can catch up on, such as later on. You're gonna see in the next level that 64 guy is going to be playing as Nabbit, and Nabbit is a little bit different here in this version, as the Nabbit can actually swim at the rate of a penguin suit from Mario Wii. So he's going to 64 guy is going to be making up at least 5 seconds over Friskie. But he does have to menu a couple times in order to switch between characters, whereas Friskie does not have to do that. Both players are past 1-1-1-2. Friskie, it looked like Friskie had some troubles going through 1-2, whereas 64 guy did not have too much troubles. But we'll see what happens from here. As you can see, looks like Friskie is playing as Luigi going into 1-Secret. It's a really interesting move on his end, because Luigi loses about 1 second over Nabbit in this level. So as you can see right here, you can see how fast Nabbit goes in this version. Alright, Friskie had no problems going through 1-Secret, neither Super 64 guy. You can see how close they are now. Alright, so here's another part where 64 guy can make up some time over Friskie. So in the Wii U version, there is a prompt where the game asks, "Hey, you should post your experience on this game on Miiverse," as you can see right here. But for 64 guy, it's just gonna straight up ask if he wants to save. So as you can see now, 64 guy is ahead of Frisky. But that is going to, if both these players continue to play well, then Frisky is going to eventually pull ahead of 64 guy again. All right, so we'll see if either one of these players are going to go for the really cool vine jump momentum trick. It's a bit recent here. Okay. But these guys, looks like Frisky's not going for it, which is fine, because if you're not very comfortable with the strat, then it can be kind of risky to go for. So 64 guy on 80, whereas Frisky got 78. All right, I'm gonna have to go AFK, so I'll be back within like 15 minutes or more. So I apologize, everybody. So you guys are gonna be listening to some gameplay for at least 15 minutes. Alright, my apologies. I am finally back. So it looks like so I missed a good 10 minutes of the race now. Anyway, so it looks like Frisky's ahead. Now keep in mind that because both runners are playing on different versions, and that Frisky's playing on a faster version, that means Frisky has to win by at least 33 seconds in order to claim victory here. Now, we did this so that we can ensure that both the Wii U and the Deluxe runners are on the same playing field. Nabbit is allowed, yes. Alright, so Frisky's going for a hard strat here. Oh, that's not good. But anyway, Frisky had a little bit of trouble, and but thankfully he made it out just fine. Friskie16guy on the other hand had a cleaner skip than Frisky, and then now Frisky is on the Ludwig fight. So normally the Ludwig fight has an attack phase. But if you have the Acorn suit, then you can just fly up to Ludwig without seeing Ludwig's attack phase at all. The Ludwig fight is normally semi-RNG, where you have to guess which Ludwig is the correct Ludwig to fight, which is the one that shoots the most fireballs. But of course, we skip that with the Acorn suit. Alright, now Frisky is off to doing a somewhat difficult skip here in the airship. Now, based on matches that I have observed, this level certainly has been a very dangerous level to a lot of our runners in some way, shape, or form, whether it is messing up the skip, messing up the fight, or whatever reason. As you can see, ooh, no. Okay, so that is a very interesting situation on Frisky's end. It looks like, so he has lost his acorn, so he has to get his acorn back. There is an acorn right there, so he can attempt to do the rest of the skip. However, it is going to be very dangerous because his cycle is going to be very off. Ooh, this is a very dangerous situation. I cannot tell what's going on because of Frisky's game feed. But did he make it? He made it. Oh my goodness, that was crazy. All right, but he can get another acorn right before the fight, so we'll see if he goes for that. I anticipate he is going to go for that. Meanwhile, 64 guy nailed the airship skip, so he is certainly saving a lot of time over Frisky. Alright, so we'll see how the Bowser Jr. fight goes. So, just like Ludwig, Bowser Jr. does have has an attack phase right there. But of course, with the acorns, you can. Oh no! 64 guy lost his acorn. That is rather unfortunate. So now 64 guy is in a very awkward position here, where he has to fight Bowser Jr. without the acorn. And believe it or not, this fight is more random than Kamek when you have to fight Bowser Jr. the way it's supposed to be. Ooh, that was really close. That is, unfortunately, a death for 64 guy. So that means he has to do the entire level all over again. Oh my goodness. Frisky right now has a huge lead over 64 guy. Oh my goodness, I cannot believe it. So now 64 guy is left with some options here. He can still do the skip here without. Oh wow. Okay, takes another death right in the beginning. That's a fast death, thankfully, but that's still rather unfortunate that he's pretty much set Frisky up to have a very comfortable lead coming into the end of the game. But things can still happen within World 8, so we'll see what happens from here. But that is rather unfortunate. Now it is still possible to do the skip. It looks like 64 guy is going to attempt to do the skip without acorn. This is going to be so exciting if he gets it. He does not get it. He misses one of those bombs. That's rather unfortunate. Yeah, this is a very difficult skip, especially if you're not very familiar with how this works. It's very hard. It's a lot harder than doing it with the acorn. Like the skip itself is hard enough to do with acorn, but to do it without acorn is extremely dangerous. So it looks like he's gonna try. He's gonna try to do the skip without acornless again here, and if he can get it, this saves time overriding the cloud platform, and he's going to get it. There he goes. Meanwhile, Frisky getting good RNG in 8-1. Oh man, but this is going to be very tough for 64 guy to catch up from this, as 7 airship is a very long level, the longest level of the run actually. Meanwhile, Frisky is going to be moving on to 8-4. We'll see how it goes for him here. All right, now we're going to see the Bowser Jr. fight here for 64 guy. Okay, gets the first hit. Gets the second hit. And gets the third hit. Frisky taking 8-4 a little bit safe. I don't blame him. It might be either he messed up something or he's just feeling really good about his lead. I'm not sure. It's one of those situations where some runners in the tournament like prefer to see where their opponents are at, or they are just continuing, or they're just going at their own pace and just hoping for the best. Either way, both strategies in a race are fine. Anyway, Frisky made it out of 8-4 just fine, and now he is moving on to the 8-castle, the elevator level. Nails the first elevator skip right there, and now he has 2 options on which method of elevator skip he's going to go for. Okay, he's taking the safe method. So over the optimal method that saves 1 second, but it's very consistent. So very good move on Frisky, knowing that he's in the lead, deciding to take the safe method. And Frisky must be feeling really good about this. No, Either he knows that he's on a decent run, or he knows what happened to 64 guy. All right, 64 guy playing as Nabbit. Normally in the deluxe version, it is optimal to keep playing as Toad / Luigi for the for 8-1, but for the purpose of safety, he is going for Nabbit. Because it is really easy to lose your acorn here in 8-1. Probably one of the easiest levels in the run to use Nabbit. Or probably the riskiest level to lose your acorn in 8-1. Okay. Frisky made it through. 64 guy having a little trouble going to the pipe there. All right, so now we have Bowser. Now, because Luigi jumps really high on Bowser, well, because Luigi jumps really high, you get a simple jump makes it over Bowser. Alright, 64 guy switching back to Toad, and is going to be doing 8-4. I'm a little disappointed that if you're going to be playing as Toad, why not play as the better Toad? That's just a little oh, trying to go for the really risky pipe boost, but did not quite get it. Saves just a little bit of time if he would have gotten it. But now, all that's left for Frisky is Bowser here, and he'll be taking game 1, which is going to put 64 guy in a very tough position where 64 guy is going to have to sweep the rest of the set if he's going to have to claim victory over Frisky. And Frisky does not go for Fireball Skip. Okay, gets the first hit. And what's important is you want to keep the clown car as much as you can for the Bowser fight in order to save the most amount of time. Otherwise, if you don't keep the clown car, then you have to go through Bowser's attack phase, and his attack phase is really, really long. He loses the clown car. This is a very big opportunity for 64 guy. Depending on what Bowser does coming up on this next attack phase, this is gonna be very huge for 64 guy. Alright. Gets the clown car back. Gets hit number 2. And now Frisky has to get back to the clown car before Bowser Jr. does. Bit of an awkward shell cycle that Frisky's on, but this is fine. He is far enough away from Bowser that he will not get knocked out of the clown car. And that is game 1 for Frisky. Right there, 64 guy taking his very first loss of the tournament. And it looks like 64 guy is going to be taking a forfeit here. So good games for both players right there. You know, I was away for about 10 minutes, but from what I saw when they came back, they kept it pretty close. And with 64 guys' really unfortunate mishap from the airship, that's going to be on his mind coming into game 2 here. So we'll see what happens. But yes, Frisky come in at a 28-23. So pretty solid time for a race here. All right, so now we're going to be setting up for the next game. As soon as I... Just going to get the runners ready here. So yeah, that was a rather interesting first game right there. Like I said early on, 64guy sweeped his first round, whereas Frisky lost one of his races during his first round, but still was able to claim his set. And so for 64guy to claim his very first loss of the tourney, that's gotta put some pressure on him coming into the next potentially 2 races. So we'll see what happens for both these guys here. But yeah, very unfortunate for 64guy to get claimed by 7 airship. 7 airship is a very common level for people to lose runs due to very unfortunate circumstances. Almost every NSLU runner and NSMBU runner, as a matter of fact, has had a run claimed by 7 airship in some way, shape, or form. And sometimes there's just nothing you can do about it. It's very brutal, especially here in this game, where in this game there's absolutely no checkpoints whatsoever. So if you die at the very end of the Bowser Jr. fight, then that is more than like 2.5 minutes gone right there. Okay, so it looks like the runners have started. So we'll see on their streams as they move on as we begin game 2 of the new Super Luigi U any percent tournament race between super64guy versus Friskie16. So the runners are off. It looks like Frisky with a minor lead, but that's okay. We're not timing this to the frame, thankfully. So it looks like 64guy is decided to play as Luigi this time. Loses Acorn right off the bat. That is already a rough start on his end. Like I said, Frisky has already claimed game 1, and 64guy is gonna have to. He's gonna have to play out of his mind in order to claim the next 2 games over Frisky if he wants a chance to move on to the next round, where the winner of this set is actually going to be going against Latchers. And as we know, Latchers played pretty well during his set. Whereas the loser of this set is going to be going against Caleb AP. All right, so both players had a little bit of trouble in 1-2. 64 guy having a little bit less trouble than Friskie. As you can see, he has made up a second over Friskie. So coming back a little bit from his mishap from 1-1. He did have to slow down earlier in 1-1 in order to avoid fireworks. And so when you get fireworks, you lose about 15 seconds because you get the fireworks animation, the flagpole animation takes longer, Toad gives you an item, and then because it's your first item, you get an extra text box telling you how to use items in the game.
Luigi!
So once again, Friskie playing as Luigi again here in 1-Secret. Very interesting choice here. But if he's very comfortable with 1-Secret as Luigi, then, you know, normally it's good to go with what you're comfortable with, as opposed to changing strats on the fly. As you never really want to change your own strats on the fly when you're up against somebody else. Alright, Friskie getting a good 1 secret. 64 guy on the other hand, not struggling much either. As you can see, he's made up a pretty substantial amount of time due to how Nabbit works in the Switch version of the game. Now remember, because these guys are playing on 2 different versions, Friskie is gonna have to win by at least 33 seconds or more in order to claim victory over 64 guy. Alright, they're moving on into World 5 here. And this time I'll be able to see the entirety of their World 5, unlike earlier in Game 1. So as you can see, Friskie's not going for the vine jump, whereas 64 guy is. And as you can see how much faster he's going compared to Friskie. Pretty good comparison right here. Ooh, Friskie did not quite clear that jump right there. And that's actually going to put 64 guy in the lead by about... Oh, they're actually pretty synced. Except Friskie is going to be pulling ahead here due to the load. Yeah, look at that. That's a pretty good comparison between the load times between the Switch and Wii U version. But that was pretty exciting when it happened. But as you can see here, 64 guy is going to be saving like 30 seconds over Friskie due to this not having to watch this cutscene that you see on Friskie's end. 64 guy taking a death. That's rough. Conveniently in the deluxe version, every character has their own power-ups. So normally if you die as Nabbit, you also lose a power-up you also lose your entire power-up state as Luigi as well. But in the deluxe version, every character shares their own power-up. So that's going to give Friskie some room to catch up here. That was scary. 64 guy, please do not give me a heart attack here while I'm on the commentary booth. I do not need to go to the hospital at 6:46 p.m. Alright, tower skip is coming up here. Alright, so since I was not here when they did this, normally in this level there is a huge block snake they have to ride throughout the entire level, but they're going to be skipping it completely by doing some precise flying. Okay, I don't know if that was that looked unintentional, but that mistake allowed 64guy to have a better cycle with that ball and chain in order to have more leeway to succeed in the skip. And Frisky also nailing tower skip. And man, these guys are pretty close now. Okay, so Boom Boom is the boss of every tower here. All you do is jump on him 3 times, and that's really it. That's basically as straightforward as Boom Boom fights go. Okay, so both runners are past 5 tower, one of the first few levels where you can get walled by when doing PB attempts. Alright, and now we're going to see 5 ghosts for both these guys. As you can see, you're going to be seeing 2 different strats here. As you can see, 64guy is playing the level as Luigi, and Frisky's playing the level as Nabbit. Nabbit is faster to use for this level, but due to menuing in... Oh, that's a very interesting situation for 64guy. Has to avoid all these boos, gets hit! But that's okay because there is an acorn in the very next level, but that was rather unfortunate. Oh my god, that looked really scary. It almost looked like he didn't clear that gap, but barely made it on. And with that, Frisky has pulled ahead again. This is going back and forth. But we'll see how the end results go. Because also keep in mind that Frisky has to win by 33 seconds in order to claim victory. But man, this is really close right now. We've been seeing some pretty interesting mistakes from both players. And this is only round 2, and we already have some pretty interesting races between these players. It just shows the caliber of the runners here.
Here we go.
But anyway, as I was saying, due to the fact that you have to manually switch to Nabbits, it's not worth menuing over to play as Nabbit for these next couple levels, just to save about a second or 2. Well, actually, it's about like half a second for 5 ghosts and a few frames here in this level. The reason Nabbit saves time in this level, it's not because it's like any easier or anything like that. Nabbit just has a faster flightful animation, so it's very common for players to play as Nabbit here in 5 Secret for that reason alone. And it looks like Frisky takes a death in 5 Secret. That is huge, ladies and gentlemen. That is a minute loss over on Frisky's end. Dying in 1 Secret is very uncommon, so that was very interesting on his part. I did not see what happened, but that's rather unfortunate for him to take a death right there. But he can get his acorn back here. It's very free, and now he just has to get through the level here. But dang, that's very unfortunate on Frisky's end. But that is going to give 64guy a very, big opportunity to keep his lead here. And potentially put the set onto a game 3. Which, there hasn't been any game 3s here in round 2. So this will be rather interesting to see. So 64 guys going into 7-1. This is a pretty difficult level. Oh, it does not get it. Oh, he can stay. Oh no, he was too low. Otherwise, he could have saved that. Oh man, so that does keep Frisky. That's actually a big opportunity for Frisky to actually take the lead here, as 64 guy is going to have to do this level without Acorn. Instead, he is actually going to be switching to Nabbit this time. Now, normally, doing this level as Nabbit is actually really risky for this particular reason right here. You have very little to no room to mess up in order to do this level optimally as Nabbit. So this is a very awkward situation for 64 guy. The normal approach for this level is to ride these fuzzies across the entire level, which it looks like that's what 64 guy is going to be doing here. And it's a very difficult level to do optimally as Nabbit if he was to go for it. But it did look like he attempted to try, which is a big respect on his end, but that's still really unfortunate. So that is going to put Frisky at a pretty big opportunity to maintain his lead. This, like I said, this race has gone really back and forth, and I really like it. But also really unfortunate on these guys that these guys have ran into some very unfortunate mishaps throughout both races so far. Okay, so it looks like 64 guy is going to be switching back to Luigi here for 7-2. So there is an Acorn here in 7-2 that he can try and get. It's really slow, but it is worth it so that he can use his Acorn in 7 Tower. So we'll see if he goes for it. He is unfortunately now too slow to get Acorn to get fireworks in order to get a backup Acorn, a reserve Acorn. But he is going to get the Super Acorn here with the red rings, with the red coins. Meanwhile, Frisky is now on 7 Tower. And I was told that 64 guy had some trouble with Kamek, so we'll see if that is on his mind here on this race. So on this auto-scroller part, you can defeat these Fire Bros. It's not that much risky to defeat them, and there's no benefits into doing it either. Some people do choose to not fight the Fire Bros, to fight the Fire Bros, just due to the fact that their patterns are semi-unpredictable. Alright, we'll see how this goes for Frisky here. It's a very unfortunate set of blocks here, and also Kamek spawned to the right, but gets all 3 hits just fine. Yeah, he did, okay. So, depending on what RNG 64 guy gets, that's pretty huge on his end. Oh, let's not get barely too slow to get the first hit in. Okay, gets the first hit, gets the second hit. Third hit is always in the middle, so it's free, and there we go.
Yes, I'm a winner.
All right, so both players getting pretty average luck on Kamek this time. That's usually what you like to see. Frisky making it past 7 Ghost House, no problem. You do want to get the secret exit here in 7 Ghosts. If you progress through the normal pathing of World 7, it's very bad because there's 2 hard levels, an auto-scroller, and then also more randomness. So that's something that nobody wants to deal with in an 80% run, unless you're trying to do some scenic route of World 7, which would be rather interesting if someone were to do that in this race. So as you can see, 64guy is using Luigi here in 7 Ghosts, and it is faster to use Nabbit, but it is not worth menuing to Nabbit in the deluxe version just to save a second. As you can see, he delays right there so that he does not get an 88. So the fastest time you get in this level is an 88, which means fireworks for his end. The reason Nabbit can get an 88, which is fine, is because Nabbit does not get fireworks at all. Okay, round 2 for this skip here for Frisky. It looks like he made it through just fine this time around. Alright, so rather similar situation than compared to game 1, where Frisky leading into the end of World 7 here. But again, anything can happen. It is worth noting that 64guy does have a pretty competitive time on the deluxe version, so it is possible that 64guy does have, in general, just faster strats, but it's just unfortunate that he's just not been able to pull off all the things that he wants to go for, making him behind Frisky. But this is a double elimination tournament, and one of these guys are going to have their first loss of the tournament. So they do have another chance in the second chance bracket. So good level fight for Frisky. 64guy is going to be following right behind. Now, Frisky did have trouble trying to perform the cloud skip here in 7 Airship. So we'll see what the results are this time for him. Now, of course, the 3 deaths that 64guy did have coming into 7 Airship, he's got to be thinking about it this time around. Okay, Frisky got it very cleanly. So that's gonna put a lot of pressure for 64guy.
What? Yeah.
All right, Frisky is now on the Bowser Jr. fight. That's 1 hit.
Whoa.
That's 2 hits. Rather a safe hit right there for. Okay, both hits were really safe. But as long as you get through the Bowser Jr. fight, you're basically safe. Okay, 64guy this time nails the skip. But he did also have trouble on the Bowser Jr. fight in game 1. So again, this entire level he's really got to be thinking about it. All right. 64 guy has no problems going through 7 airship this time. So now he's going to be able to keep up with Frisky. But Frisky does have a pretty significant lead going into World 8. We're going to look at this fade in time coming into World 8 here. As that's usually the nice checkpoint as to see where you are. Okay, so we see at 21:30, and this cutscene here is about a minute, so Frisky is in the lead by at least 30 seconds if we're going by technical terms here, as far as rules that we're using here in the tournament. So that's going to be pretty huge on Frisky's end.
Ho-ho! Wah!
Frisky takes a minor bonk there with those blocks, gets a really good pattern, doesn't take advantage of it. Oh, whoa. That was a little crazy right there, but he makes it up there. That's more important than dropping in the lava. Yeah, Frisky must be feeling really good about his lead right now, assuming that he knows what is going on. Meanwhile, 64 guy using Nabbit's safe approach here. I would expect him to. Oh, that is. Oh, what is? Oh my goodness, that is a death on Frisky's end right there. That is huge for 64 guy. What a huge twist of events right here. That's gonna be really huge. So Frisky's backup strat is to get a 77 at the end of this level in order to get his acorn back. Unless he decides to play the rest of the run out without acorn, which would be very difficult for him to do. But we'll see. He might still be on pace for 77. Oh, probably not anymore with this right here. Yeah, taking it safe. And unfortunately, he's gonna have to play the rest of the run out without using an acorn. So that is a very huge opportunity for 64 guy to make up a lot of time over Frisky.
Here we go.
And ladies and gentlemen, we might be able to see a game 3 here tonight between 64 guy and Frisky. Wow. Yeah, Frisky is playing as Nabbit here for 8 Castle. Yeah, so without acorn, Frisky does have to pull off significantly slower strats for the rest of the run here.
Whoa! Here we go.
So this is a very big opportunity for 64 guy, as he is going to be able to pull off elevator skip for both rooms. Okay, nails the first room right there. And he nails the second room. That is a lot of time. Showing up to Frisky. Now, as you can see now, the race has gotten a lot closer. Now, this is going to be very awkward. Doing this room here without acorn is very awkward. Okay, letting Bowser Jr. drill right there at the beginning. Taking a little bit safe here. Oh my god, Frisky! Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! And with that, 64 guy has taken the lead. Wow, I can't believe it. So now this is gonna be very awkward here for Frisky. So we'll see 64 guys approach here. Okay, going for the most consistent method of doing the first room. Okay, 64 guy makes it, and so does Frisky. Oh my goodness, ladies and gentlemen, this is really close. But now, unfortunately, due to 64 guy's deficits, it would take 64 guy to mess up the Bowser fight for Frisky to take this game. But anything can happen. This is an extremely close game too, right here. Oh, Frisky hitting the switch. Okay.
Yes, I'm a winner.
All right, we'll see how the Bowser fight goes. About a 6-second difference between both players here. '64 guy nails Fireball Skip. Frisky's not going to be able to go for it because he does not have Acorn. '64 guy gets the first hit. Stuns Bowser Jr. Frisky also getting the first hit. And, oh no, it looks like Frisky lost the clown car. So I think that alone is going to solidify, but then 64 guy loses the clown car. Oh my goodness. What is the move for both players here? Oh, Frisky getting knocked out. Frisky getting the second hit. They're both one hit away. And with that, 64 guy takes game 2 of the set here. Ladies and gentlemen, we are moving on to a game 3. Oh my goodness, that was an extremely close race right there. I mean, 64, probably, it was more favorable on 64 guys' end due to the 33-second deficits that these players have against each other. But holy moly, that was a very crazy game too on both runners' ends. Oh man, this is going to be really exciting coming into game 3.
What?
Uh-oh.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, there we go. All right, and with that, wow, you know, both players are playing really well, but this is not really the exact results that I was expecting. Because like I said, 64 guy has a very competitive time on the deluxe version, on the deluxe leaderboards of this game. But it's just rather unfortunate that for both races now, not everything that he wanted to go for has gone his way. So we'll see coming into game 3, like the pressure's really got to be on for these guys here, as these guys are really gonna have to go for everything that they can to save as much time over each other. So 64 guy has notified me that he is taking a credits break right now. I don't blame him, considering doing, like, since these guys are going to be doing a third race back to back, doing 3 80% runs back to back can be exhausting, especially if both runs did not quite go the way that you want. Which, you know, it's definitely an endurance test, with all these sets being best of 3, and then coming into the finals match, where the finals match is going to be best of 5, which will be a whole other story once we actually get there. And so, taking a look at the results here, so this is very exciting here. So, like I said, like 64 guy claiming his first loss in game 1, Friskie claiming his second loss of the tournament, but loss of game 2 here in this matchup. Anything can happen. Seeing how both these races went, anything can happen for both these guys now, and the pressure's on for them. But man, that was crazy, where 64 guy was behind almost the whole race until Friskie's unfortunate mishap in 8-4. Like, I certainly was not expecting that to happen. Now, 8-4 is a very difficult level. And, you know, one mistake can easily make 8-4 fall apart really quickly. But man, the way it happened there was extremely unfortunate. But yeah, so for anyone who's just tuning in, we're watching a new Super Luigi tournament race between Super 64 guy and Friskie. going to round 2, where both these runners have won their set in round 1, and these guys are about to get their first loss. One of these guys are about to get their very first loss of their sets in the tournament, whereas somebody else is going to continue to move on in the winner's bracket, whereas this is a double elimination tournament, so the loser of the set is going to be moving down in the second chance bracket of round 2, where one of these guys is going to be facing Caleb in second chance round 2, whereas one of these guys is going to be moving on to take on Latchers in round 3. All right, so 64 guys back from his break. They are setting up. It looks like they are both ready. And now game 3 has started. So this is a do or die situation for both these guys here. So I am really excited to see how this is going to go. So we'll see if any of the game 3 nerves kick in for either one of these players. Because you know, when you have a match that moves into game 3, you know that everything is on the line at this very moment. And especially, like, if you haven't done very many runs back to back, then, you know, doing 3 runs in a row can be exhausting. So we'll see if that mental barrier is going to kick in for either one of these players. Okay, so both these players have no problems going into 1-1 here. 79s for both players here, with Friskie with a small lead due to 1-1 loading quicker than 64 guy.
Here we go.
So now we have 1-2. Now, these guys have really been struggling with 1-2 for both races. So we'll see if any one of these guys are going to break through. Looks like both these guys are playing pretty well here. Ooh, Friskie, that was really close. Friskie getting a 73 pipe, 64 guy getting a 77 pipe, making up 4 seconds over Friskie. But then also, because 64 guy is playing on the Switch version, he's gonna be manually menuing to change characters to Nabbits for 1-Secret.
Oh.
I think I hear 64 guy's mic. I'm certainly hearing noises I'm not supposed to be hearing. Alright, so once again, seeing 2 different strategies. Friskie playing as Luigi in 1-Secret, and 64 guy playing the level as Nabbits, and this will be a pretty big opportunity for him due to Nabbits swing significantly faster in this version. Right, look at the guy go. As you can see, first game is 74 or a 75, and 64 game getting an 84. And oh my goodness, ladies and gentlemen, we are synced up. But 64 guy is going to gain the lead here because he is not going to be notified about Miiverse about posting his experience about the game on Miiverse at the time that the Switch has came out, Miiverse has stopped existing. whereas Miiverse has existed at the time that this game has came out. So Frisky will be prompted to post his thoughts on Miiverse, which obviously since it's a speedrun, you can't post your thoughts on Miiverse, or we're not going to be posting our thoughts on Miiverse. It's a good game, except it's not a good game. So we'll see this crazy momentum boost strat here for 64guy. This looks so satisfying when you can actually get it. It's so good. 64guy getting an 81. And Frisky getting at a 78. Again, Frisky not going for the vine jumps. And as you can see, 64guy is gonna really pull ahead here because Frisky has to listen to Toad complain about Nabbit stealing his stuff. And 64guy is gonna be moving on to 5-3. Hesitating a little bit there, hugging the wall jumps. Hugging the wall again. There's a lot of hugging today. Yeah, but no problem otherwise. Probably was too busy thinking about the death that he had earlier in Game 2. But he overcame it, thankfully. Meanwhile, Frisky makes it past the part that 64guy messed up on. So he's already saving 3 seconds over 64guy. But now we have Tower Skip. And Tower Skip hasn't really been a problem for either of these guys in this set, which is really good to see because it is a very difficult skip. Oh, but 64guy is gonna miss one of his spins and he's not gonna be able to clear it. So that means, okay, so he can either attempt to do Tower Skip again, which will still save time over riding his Block Snake. But this is gonna be a huge opportunity for Frisky if Frisky gets this. Okay, Frisky delaying there in order to get a favorable cycle, and 64guy taking a death. That is huge for Frisky here. Oh man, this was the opportunity that 64guy needed in order to. Oh, what is the move here? Is he going back?
Wow. Yeah.
I think he's going back to World 1 in order to get his acorn.
Wow.
Now, he does have to catch Nabbit in order to keep his acorn, so this is going to be a significant time loss, but that will mean that he's going to have his acorn later on. There are acorns in 5 Tower, so I'm sure 64guy just really wants to pull off the skip here, but man, that is a very huge opportunity for Frisky. Wow, that's really unfortunate. But 64guy will have that P acorn that he just picked up there for later level.
What? Oh, what?
But man, that's going to be really huge. But we saw what happened earlier in Game 2 where 64guy was in this similar position throughout almost the entirety of Game 2 and was still able to claim victory. But I'm sure Frisky is probably not going to let 64 guy give up that lead very easily this time. But we'll see what happens from here. Okay, gets it this time. Much cleaner. Meanwhile, Frisky made it past 5 ghosts. Gets the secret exit. So at this point, 64 guy is at a position where he's really gonna have to have a run. Well, he's really gonna have Frisky have a run for his money if he wants to come back here in this race, because he's already an entire level behind Frisky. We did see Frisky take a death here in Game 2, but I'm sure he's not going to give that up as easily this time, as he's probably going to play this level a little bit more carefully than what happened.
What? Here we go.
Oh, 64 guy having trouble getting the star. Man, he's really been struggling here in this matchup. Now, like I said, 64 guy has a really competitive time on the deluxe leaderboards and does have overall faster strats than Frisky, but it's just really unfortunate that all the things that he wants to go for is just not going in his way right now. But now Frisky's moving on to 7-1 here. Okay, 64 guy is going to be playing as Toad here for 5 secret. I don't really know why he would do this, because he does have a reserve P acorn in his inventory as for added safety. But if he does want to make sure that he's extra safe throughout the rest of the run, then I guess this is a pretty decent option. They'll have an acorn for Toad, an acorn for Luigi, as well as the reserve P acorn. Meanwhile, Frisky, he got through 7-1 just fine. Had to play the last part a little bit safe near the end, but really plowing through 7-2 here. .64 guy getting a 35. I disagree with you. You officially lose your set. But now Frisky moving on to 7 tower. So 64 guy is 2 entire levels behind. Rather unfortunate to see that from dying in 5 tower when this race in particular, everything is on the line. But missing tower skip is a very common mistake upon basically every runner of NSLU. And then finding a way to mentally come back after a mishap like that is... It's definitely a tough one. Alright, so we'll see how the Kamek fight goes for Frisky. He did get a pretty good fight last time. Alright, 64 guy clears that this time. No problem. Frisky does not get the first cycle. It gets hit 1, 2, and 3. So that's gonna be putting pressure here on 64 guy to match that same luck. All right. We have 7 ghosts on Frisky's end and 7-2 completed on 64 guy. Again, no problems for 7 ghosts. It's really consistent. There are a bunch of consistent setups to doing that level as an abbot. Alright, so we'll see how 7 Castle goes on Frisky's end, and then we'll see 64 guy's luck. 64 guy did get a 58 door, whereas I believe Frisky got a 57. Oh, Frisky having trouble there? Okay, but did not lose Acorn. It is really easy to lose Acorn if you mess that last part up. But he made it past there. Oh no! 64 guy had an opportunity to get the first hit in right away, but did not quite get up there. But saving a second over Frisky, as he gets a 144 compared to Frisky's 143. So he's starting to come back a little bit here. But it certainly isn't over yet. As we did see what happened last time. Frisky did have a significant lead going into World 8 with 64 guy claiming that victory. Frisky getting past 7 Castle, and now we have 7 Ghosts here for 64 guys. 64 guys has been playing well past the part where he's had troubles in World 5. So it's really nice to see that he is starting to come back a bit after his mishaps. So again, slowing down there to ensure that he does not get an 88 at the end of the level. As it's really easy to do if you're playing the level very optimally. All right, but we'll see how 7 Airship goes for Frisky here. He's been really safing out 7 Airship. But this time he gets a really good one. Yeah. Okay, 64 guy's about to go for his, I don't actually know what we would call this trick, but, I mean, it's not really a trick, it's just getting through the last part quickly. But Frisky getting the first, struggling to get the second hit, loses Acorn! This is huge for 64 guy. This is the opportunity that 64 guy needs in order to come back here. Let's see what the move is for Frisky. Coming into World 8. Yeah, this is an extremely terrifying fight if you lose your Acorn. Really struggling to... Okay. Yeah, you want to play it. You don't want to just head into Bowser Jr. Frisky takes a death in the Bowser Jr. fight. This is huge. This puts 64 guy potentially in the lead here. Oh my goodness. This is extremely crazy. Like I said, this is the exact same situation. Well, not the exact same situation, but a similar situation as to what happened in Game 2. Frisky had a significant lead, but had some troubles towards the end of the race, giving 64 guy enough room to pull ahead here. Okay, Frisky getting his Acorn back, and is going to be pulling off the rest of the skip here, doing the half skip. But we'll see what happens here. We'll see if 64 guy nails the skip. If he nails the skip, this is going to be a pretty huge opportunity for him to really catch up. Wow, that was crazy. Okay, 64 guy. Okay, nice improv there. Slips up on one of those blocks at the end, but nails the skip. Frisky gets the first hit. We'll see what happens here on hit number 2. Gets the second hit right there. But man, I will say that second hit from earlier before he died, it certainly wasn't his fault. Bowser Jr.'s hitbox is not very favorable, as you have to hit Bowser Jr. on the very center of Bowser Jr. And that hitbox it's extremely small. Meanwhile, 64 guy gets the first hit, gets the second hit, and gets the third hit. He has made up a lot of time. We have a 49 fade out from that airship here. We'll see what type of fade out time 64 guy gets. Man, this is gonna be another close finish here. A 22, so 33 seconds. So that means that in technical terms, they are both tied, as Frisky has to win by 33 seconds in order to take the win over 64 guy. So these guys are really gonna have to play for it here. Now, 64 guy does have 3 backups. He has an Acorn for Toad, an Acorn for Luigi, and a P Acorn. So he can afford to tank a damage in 8-1 if he decides to keep playing as Toad in coming into 8-1. Meanwhile, Frisky going to 8-1 as Nabbit. See what he gets here. He does not get a good pattern. So he's going to be losing a second. We'll see what happens for 64 guy. If 64 guy gets a bad pattern, and he's going to be losing 2 seconds. Which, given how close this race has gotten now, that could make the difference. So it looks like 64 guy is gonna be sticking with Toad. So if he does lose Acorn, which is very possible and not very hard to do, he will have another Acorn. As Dewey playing as Luigi, he gets a better pattern, loses his Acorn, but that's fine because he does have an Acorn with Luigi. Unfortunately, that does mean he's going to be losing 3 seconds due to having to switch characters. Friskie taking 8-4 really safe. I'm sure he has his mishap from Game 2 on his mind, and that he just decided to play 8-4 pretty safe. I don't blame him. We're gonna look at fade out times here to see how close this can get here. We got a pretty high 36 on Friskie's end, and as you can see, 64 guy did switch to Luigi so that he can have his Acorn. If he does lose Acorn again, he does have that P Acorn that he can use in order to get his Acorn back. Anyone who doesn't know what the P Acorn will do, it's essentially the Super Acorn, but you can fly infinite times. But in this run, there's not very much benefits with the P Acorn.
Made it.
Okay, Friskie going for the safe method of elevator skip, which loses a second. We have a 19. So, again, 33-second difference between these players, which means that they are technically tied.
Here we go.
This is going to be an exciting finish here. .64 guy going for the harder method of the Rim 2 elevator skip. Already saving a second over Friskie. Friskie going for a rather consistent method. Had to improv there for a little bit, but that is okay. As long as you go through... Ooh, that's interesting. Okay. Okay, so we have a 25 door time entering this corridor. And we'll see what it is for a 64 guy. This is really close.
Here we go.
Okay, Friskie's past the Bowser fight. 64 guy on the other hand. Ooh, going for the boost. I like that. Oh, but didn't get the full time save over that. And we have a 14. So... It all comes down to Bowser. .64 guy is really trying his best to keep up with Friskie here.
Yes, I'm a winner.
Friskie not going for Fireball Skip. This could save 2 seconds if 64 guy gets Fireball Skip. Friskie gets the first hit.
Luigi!
That was really close. Friskie gets the second hit. Ooh, Bowser Jr. loses Acorn. That's fine. Oh, again, that was really close. And with that, Friskie clocking in at a 29.09. Or maybe it was a 10. I swore I saw a 9. We'll see what time 64 guy gets here. Again, Friskie has to win by 33 seconds in order to claim victory over 64 guy. That's hit number 2. Oh, I don't think there's enough time for 64 guy here. So it looks like that might be game for Friskie. Yup. So Friskie is going to be moving on to round 3, whereas 64 guy is going to be moving on to second chance round 2, where he'll be going against Caleb, and Friskie will be going against Latchers. But wow, that was a really crazy matchup for both games 2 and 3. Now, I just want to emphasize, Friskie is Friskie is not a bad player. Like, he certainly has played well, but that definitely was not the type of results that I was expecting in the set. You know, like I said, 64 guy has a really competitive deluxe time, but just really unfortunate that not everything went his way in all 3 races. So I'm gonna pull them both over for an interview if they both want it. I'm gonna try and get them over here. Is that okay? Hello, 64 guy. If I can, maybe his mic is not ready, but anyway. But yeah, so.
Hello.
Hello. Okay. All right. How are you feeling?
Dude, I'm pissed about that last race. Oh my god. And that was like really close too, when you think about it. Factor in loads, that was like within 10 seconds of each other.
Yeah, I saw that.
Mm.
I was even pointing it out that you guys were.
Sorry,
yeah, I was even pointing out that you guys were technically even coming into World 8 because you guys were 33 seconds apart going into World 8 due to Friskie dying on Bowser Jr.
Right. I needed to capitalize on that, and I capitalized as best as I could on that, to be perfect.
Yeah.
There was not much more I could have done. I could have had a better 8-4, actually. But I think even the slightly better 8-4 wouldn't have done anything.
Mm-hmm.
I think what would have given me the win is if I had remembered that Reds in 5T gave me Acorn, and did that instead of going back to 1-1.
Yeah.
If I had remembered that, that would have saved me probably 30 seconds and probably would have given me the win.
Yeah. But it is new Super Luigi U. It is a very difficult game, and as we saw, and this race was definitely an example of how many things could go wrong within this run. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that was rather unfortunate. As I mentioned like a few times throughout the set that you do have a competitive time on the deluxe leaderboards, but it was just really unfortunate that not everything that you wanted to go for has went your way throughout the set.
Every time I play in a tournament, I just do awful. I have yet to get like good runs in tournaments.
But since this is your first loss of the set, you are going to be going against Caleb in second chance round 2. So what are you going to do to prepare against him?
I mean, I might take a break from this game, honestly. I've thought about picking up Mario Bros. Wii, and so I think honestly, like after what happened today, I'm sick of doing bad in tournaments and doing great everywhere else. Even doing no reset runs, I get 28xx's on stream. So I'm just like, I'm ready to just take a break from this game for a couple days and then come back next week and see what happens.
Okay, well, as you do have the end until the end of this week to get a match in for Caleb.
Well, maybe I'll be doing that sooner rather than later.
Yeah, but a couple days break after given what happened is definitely a good idea. Definitely, definitely for the players in the tournaments, you definitely don't want to exhaust yourself throughout the entirety of the tournaments. As it is very common for people to get burned out right after tournaments. So,
yeah, no, definitely. That's why it's important to take breaks, guys. I sound like the Wii Sports loading screen.
Yeah, yeah. So, like I said, you're going against Caleb, and Friskie will be moving on to round 3, where he's going to be going up against Latchers.
Yeah. GG's again, Frisk, if you're in chat still. Those were all really good matches, and I'm proud to have played those.
Yeah, those were really crazy, especially Game 2. Game 2 was really crazy.
Yeah, I was shocked I came back from Game 2, because I had a death in 5-3 and 2 deaths in 7-1. I was like, what the heck?
Yeah, that was really crazy.
I think really the most frustrating thing for me is that there were so many things in Game 3 and 5 Tower that I could have done differently that, like, I could have lost a lot less time in 5T if I hadn't just forgotten that I was playing the stupid Luigi game and there's slippery physics, that I wouldn't have fallen off at the end.
Yeah. But yeah, so with that, I think that is the set. So is there anything else that you want to say before we conclude?
Not really, except first for fun and GG's.
All right, yeah, GG's to both you guys, and yeah, with that, we currently don't have anything else scheduled right now for New Super Luigi U, but coming up, I'm gonna go and pull off the schedule here for Speed Gaming for any cool stuff. All right, so later on tonight on this channel at 11 p.m. Eastern, which is actually really soon, there's going to be a matchup of Kirby 64, the 100% tournament, with Dark Riolu versus Shin Kuribo. Gonna be pretty exciting. Kirby 64 is a fantastic game, so if you guys are interested in watching that is something to look forward to. I recently started watching speedruns of Kirby 64, and especially the 100% category. It's a really cool run. You definitely don't want to miss out on that. And that's pretty much it for the rest of the day for as far as speed gaming is concerned. So with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching the race. And we will see you guys on another New Super Luigi U matchup.